Well, so at the end of September, I rescued a little cat. Yeah. I just found it screaming and yelling in a road of electric bikes outside a neighborhood. It was a very small kitten, just like 2 months old, who has just left his mom. Clearly, he was lost, and no cats around him, and he was just like very, very small and slim, and he was just like screaming in that kind of pathetic tone, high pitch, and that kind of tone that will arouse your sympathy. But people just walk past it, not even stopping for a while. And there was a man with a tremendous belly stood there and watching the kitten. By that time, I was like just descending from a bridge, and I just saw that man standing there for a long time, so I got a little bit curious and I just walked towards him and see what he was looking. Turns out that he was looking at the kitten, and I looked at the kitten with him, and he said he just kept saying, "Oh, this is such a pathetic kitten. Oh, look at the little one," something like that. How pathetic it is to lose his mom at this age. He kept saying things like that, but he's not taking the kitten with him. So I was like, if you really like the kitten, why not just bring the kitten home? And he said, no, I've got two big cats in my house, and it would be kind of inconvenient. And then, he kept saying those kind of things, just like as if he was trying to persuade me to take the kitten home. But there was something about me is that I have never had any kind of pets like in my life. I mean, like, I used to have a very, very small kitten when I was 10 years old, something like that. Also, I just, like, I saw that little kitten during my night wandering, and I just brought the kitten home. And then by the time my father was having a serious flu, he was having the flu before I brought back the kitten, but he thought that it was because I brought back the kitten that he had the flu. It was because that the kitten brought bad luck to the family. Do you know what he was saying? No judge, but like I insisted to possess the kitten for a few days, but then my father got really upset, and my grandpa went and persuaded me to let go the kitten, and eventually I did obey them. So I let go the kitten. I put him on the road on my way back home, and he was lost. He was lost again, and yeah. So when I look at this kitten in the rows of electric bikes, I was thinking about the same story, and I didn't want the same story to happen. This was a dilemma because my father went back home from time to time, and he lived with us, and I lived with them for the time being. And this is not just about rescuing a little cat like a hero. This is just like, you need to be responsible for him. You need to feed him food. You need to give him water. You need to give him shelter. This is serious. If you just bring him home and, not really taking good care of him, and then even later bringing him back outdoors again, that was just really like some bastard's behavior. So the man kept saying those kind of things. Oh, how pathetic, how sympathetic the cat is. But I was like, yeah, I do feel like doing something good to the kitten, but at the same time, I don't want to bring trouble to the family. And I stayed at home and write things all the time. I am not sure whether this cat is okay in our house. I paused, I faltered a little bit. But then eventually the man helped me to catch the little kitten, and I put him in a little plastic bag where I use it to hold my bubble tea bottle. And it was already like 10:30. It's like kind of late, and the kitten was screaming and trembling in my hands. I was carrying the kitten moving towards my house, my neighborhood. He kept trembling all the way, and he was like scratching my hands with her paws, and as if he wanted to break free. And I hesitated a few times, a lot of times, the whole time, and I thought perhaps he was hungry, but I didn't have cat food. So I went to a few food stores to look for cat food, but it turns out that they didn't have any cat food. I even got snored by a staff in a food store because he said the store only sold human food. How can you find cat food in the store that provided humans food? I thought he was being a little bit mean, but that was, I don't really got time to argue with him, so I just laughed. And then I ended up buying a sausage in the supermarket. A young woman picked the sausage for me because I was holding the cat with both of my hands. Otherwise, it would just escape because it was so chaotic. There were so many human beings around him, and he must be very afraid. Alright, so I brought the cat and the sausage back to my neighborhood, and the cat was struggling really, really hard, and my hands hurt very, very much. So I released the cat. He jumped to the floor on the sniffing and still trembling. I was like, if I just left him there, sure, he got no food to eat, and he didn't know where to go home, and there was no home anymore. So I tried to pick him up again. And then, at the time, near a road of trash bins, there was a man. So the man's duty was to collect and organize the trash. I just asked the man, do you want the kitten? The man said no. So I carried the kitten and about to went into the gate of my building. And then the man said, oh, wait. Do you not want to keep the cat? I said it would be kind of troublesome to keep the cat in my house. The man said, okay, follow me. He led me to a place where they served cat food and water, and then I just put the cat on the floor, and the cat ate a little bit cat food, but because he was too young, too small, too little, his teeth was just too young for that, so he just ate only very few bites, and then he stopped and drank some water. And then there was a woman having a little dog, and the woman taught me how to be kind and show love to the kitten, holding the kitten around the chest, kissing and touching skin, all that kind of thing. And then just smell awkwardly because the cat was kind of dusty, if you know what I mean. And anyway, I was just trying to be kind. And then the woman said, oh, there was an uncle feeding the cats around here. Maybe you can handle the cat to the uncle, and the uncle will find a place for the cat if you are not responsible enough to feed the cat in your house. And I thought that it was a good idea. And just by the time, or by coincidence that I cannot understand, it was like somebody has arranged all of this for me and for the cat. The uncle just went past by, and the woman just called him to stop and told him the situation. The uncle just took a very careful look at the cat and said, oh, this is a small one, and it just cannot find his mom again. So the uncle took the cat, that was a long story, to a platform on the second floor of my building. There was a little garden with some kind of bottles, boxes. There was a woman walking there, and whose duty was to clean up the floor and the elevator of the building. So the uncle said, we can put in here. There was a cat mom here who just gave birth to 4 little cats, and some other cats will also visit here just for some food. The uncle opened a can. The little cat ate immediately, which suggests that he was very hungry, starving, burning stomach, something like that. And after that, the little cat just hide in the piles of boxes. He was just too afraid. I talked a little bit more while with the uncle, talking about how to arrange the little cat. I transferred 100 yuan to the uncle, just thanking to taking care of it. And I believe it was already 11 o'clock. So I took a final look at the little cat, and then I just went back home. For the following days, until today, I visit the cat every single day. I just make sure that he's got food to eat, and I even bought him a furry nest, just preventing from the winter wind. Yeah, that's the story. The cat, kind of grows, and when I look at him, he's having those kind of crazy chase in the platform, and it was a very vast platform, so he could run like crazy, he could run like a leopard. And he was kind of naughty cat because he was a boy. He would just pin his paws on other cats, just try to get some fun, I guess. And the other cats would just sneeze at him, some sort like that. So the other day it was raining, so I went downstairs to look at the kitten, and he was a little bit wet. The fur was a little bit wet, but it's still very, active. and still can do a lot of things, and I just like can't help wondering, is it alright to put it there? But I thought he was having so much freedom there. Downstairs, he could chase, he got food to eat and he could play with other cats, He's got freedom and he's got his own things to do, minding his own business. And I tried to buy some toys for him, and he is not showing a lot of interest because I thought like domestic cats will show a lot of interest to that kind of toys, but he's showing very little interest, and he is like a bit afraid of me, but not like every day he's afraid of me, but like alert. He's kind of alert, like a wild animal. If I, just get too close to him, he would just hunch. And he's wild. He's not really like a domestic cat. So even though I feel like taking him home, perhaps someday when it is possible, I can bring him home because he's still such a small cat. He's got years to grow. But I don't know, like, because I have put him on that platform for a week. He's already pretty much getting used to that new environment. The environment forms his habits and his personality. The longer he stay there, the wilder he would become, and the less possible and appropriate I could bring him home. I don't know whether this is okay or not, but have you ever like have this kind of situation that you feel like doing something good to somebody or something, but then like you've got so many things to think about? I think it matters that you did something good first and then showing your kindness in any kind of levels, and then perhaps later when you can afford the effort or anything else, and you just improve the measure. But you can always do good things first. Maybe just give it a hand, maybe just give it some food, just a small amount of money. It doesn't really necessarily to be big. It can be small, but still can be good-hearted. That's what I'm talking about. Kept wondering like if he was in my house and my house is not that free, not having that many things to play like on that platform, and no other cats and a lot of family members, it's got not so many things to play. I actually thought about are all like that little cat screaming, starving in the middle of nowhere, yelling for help. Few people stop and are willing to help. I'm talking about this in the perspective of the whole universe, because I thought we are at the beginning level in this universe. So we are like that little cat. We don't know where we are and we can't escape. We don't know ourselves. And we're just like yelling and living in trash. And also I thought about if there really are some creatures that's like way more intelligent than us, way more developed than us, like aliens, developed creatures, will they see us like we see this little cat? It's like, even though he's pathetic, but we cannot take him home because he's got different hobbies. He's got different manners from us, and he's too wild to stay at our home. We're like, even though we try to teach him something, but he could not understand. He's minding his own business, and he's not understanding us. Do those creatures see us in this way? Why are we so lonely in this universe? I keep wondering something like this. This little cat, the whole thing about this little cat just put me into this kind of philosophical thinking. First, it's about being good in a small way and trying to improve it. And then it is about the role of human beings in this universe. Is it really like we are this little cat stuck in this dimension, perhaps stuck in this galaxy and not knowing where to go, and can actually not really go anywhere? I mean, like with this body. So will one day our technology develop into a new level so we can travel in the universe? Like many of us, most of us, we will have spaceship. What would that be? It would be so hard to imagine. I don't really know. This difference of intelligence between human beings and cats, just put me into thinking about human beings and other intelligent creatures, if there are any. And this is a big universe. We don't really know the whole picture, so I guess there are other creatures. They just go past by us, not really caring about us because we're just like little cats yelling. They don't even care. And there will also be creatures stopping and looking at us, just looking, not giving any help, just looking with curiosity. And then they go. And then very, very few would choose to help, but it would be hard to help us because we are so different. We are developing in such a different level that it would be hard for them to help us. Perhaps we don't even understand what they are doing. What if they are actually doing something good, but from our angle, we think they are doing something bad because we cannot understand their behaviors. There's just this kind of scale of intelligence and mental development between us, and this is just so hard. But it could still happen, right? Yeah. So this is what I'm thinking about over this story of little cat. Well, I'm just blessing this little cat. I wish him grow up healthy, happy, and if there is any updates, I will let you know. Thank you.